I want to introduce Reverend Ray, who's our speaker today, and he is a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development. He lives his bliss as a teacher, minister, author, visual artist, American Sign Language instructor. He is a mentor, a father, a grandfather, and so much more. He gives people life skills and practices that enable them to realize and materialize the full divine potential that they are. He's an amazing facilitator. I can speak from personal experience. He's a fun facilitator. He has a small group, or a study group, on Wednesday evenings through his center. And in August, be sure to ask him about this. In August, he's planning to offer a class called, you're going to like this, Terry, Storytelling as a Spiritual Practice. Yeah. So we will be letting you know the details of that shortly. Please welcome Reverend Ray.
I want my hug. Thank you. How's it going, everybody? You know what? Just because it's a small group doesn't mean it can't be a bold group. How are you today? One more time. Okay, you so we're familiar with the idea of call and response? So I'm going to say something and I want you to repeat after me. Why is my timer not working? Don't repeat that part. Okay. I am the body of God. I am the power of God. I am that which is the all that is. I am love incarnating. I am joy in form. I am wise beyond my imagination. And that is what is so. And so it is. So, thank you. So, we're talking about this idea of what it means to be colorful to the core and to have holy boldness. Now, I have a question for you, however, is when we talk about to the core, what's the core? Like, think of your body for a second. What is the core of your body? Heart, stomach, right? It depends on what exactly we're talking about. Because if I say, like in martial arts, you move from your core, right? You move from your dantian, where your center of gravity is. Jen said, don't move too much. Where your center of gravity is. Because if I move from somewhere that's not my core, I fall off balance. What is the core of this building? What is the core of governance for the United States of America? What is the core principle of the Constitution? What is the core? Like, we could talk about this idea of, well, core. Core is that idea, that thing that supports. That thing that facilitates life. That thing that facilitates freedom and liberty. That thing that facilitates the heart. It facilitates life by pumping blood through the body. Whatever that is, it is the thing that facilitates. Now, if we're talking about being colorful to the core, well, what is that? Generally, I want you to think about it this way. Meister Eckhart said, between me and God, there is no between. Breathe that in. Between me and God, between me and the infinite, between me and that which is the all that is, there is no between, which means what? Because if Lynn were to stand here and I put this between us, well, clearly we've got flowers between us. But the moment I remove the flowers, there is no between. There is only us standing. Far too often we negate the power that we are. Far too often we give our power away to others. And we turn our, You remember, who in here did not ever, never, ever, young folks might not have, seen The Wizard of Oz, the original Wizard of Oz? Anybody who hasn't seen? So everybody has seen. So you remember when Dorothy was in Kansas, and you remember her life was sepia. And then she gets to Oz, and oh my, it's Technicolor. Technicolor is the natural state of the divine. Sepia is when we have allowed collective consciousness to dull our senses, to not be able to see that love is what we are, joy is what we are, spirit is what we are, that God is somewhere, somehow living, way, oh, where is God at? Like whatever that is, that's living in sepia. We are not meant to live in sepia. How would you feel if Lynn, I pick on you a lot when I come here, don't I? If Lynn were to come up here and just do this. How would you feel? Let that sink in for a second. Now, first you might think, Aiden, what's wrong? If the mic's not, Lynn's mouth is moving, but there's nothing coming out. Like there would be some discord. There would be some things not quite right with this picture. That's no different than standing in our truth and knowing that that which God is, that which the universe is each and every one of us, all the time, right here and right now. So when we go out in the world and we dim our light, when we go out in the world and we let the idea of collective consciousness, well, you know, because you're this gender, it means this. Because you're this color, it means that. Because of this, because of that, because of your age, because of your weight, because of whatever this is, you're not good enough. That's us taking a step back and saying, because there's a song inside that wants to be expressed, but when we let others, whatever that other is, convince us, don't sing. Sing to yourself. Keep it inside. Sing in the shower, but not in public. Dance to the beat of your drum. Don't have us dance. Like whenever that happens and we buy into it and we say okay, then we have turned our light down. And you know that song. We've sang it before. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Well, you know that song, right? That light is not little, though. Like in truth, that light cannot be little, because that would mean that that which God is has size. Somehow, I know God. I know. I'm keeping track. So somehow that would be us buying into the idea that says, well, Yoda was wrong. Judge me by my size, do you? As well, you should not, for my ally is the force, and a powerful ally it is. It is the all that is. It's everywhere. It's in everything. Crude matter, we are not. We are luminous beings. But when we say, well, you know, because of my trauma, my light, dim it. Well, because of my age, dim it. Because of my this, dim it. Well, if you only knew how much money I actually had in the bank account, dim. But the truth of our being can never be dimmed. No matter what. It's not possible. If you were to go in your house right now and you boarded up every window, I mean, you paint it black, you put tin foil on it, you put plywood up, does that make the sun stop shining? No. So we can board up and dim our concept of ourselves, but not the truth. We can choose not to express, but that which God is already expressing. How often have we talked about, well, Tammy's a licensed practitioner, but all of us are practitioners, licensed or not, because all of us are using the same power and the same principles to do this thing called life. So it really doesn't matter, quote unquote, if you have a license or not. Are you thinking? Is there anyone who got here by way of not thinking. When you're in a conversation, how often do you not speak in conversation? How many of us are like Mr. Spock, or those that Mr. Spock hails from, Vulcans, who we are without emotion? Which the funny thing is, Vulcans aren't without emotion. Any Trekkies in the room? Vulcans actually have emotions. They are just so powerful that they choose to keep them in check by appearing emotionless. But the emotions are there. That which God is, the truth of our being, is here now. And when we choose to, yeah, but what? But is it some kind of idea from our collective consciousness way back when that says it to pump yourself up, to be proud of yourself, to give yourself kudos, to recognize your own beauty and your own intelligence and your own talent? Somehow that is boastful, and therefore boastful is prideful. And we remember our Judeo-Christian siblings saying, pride cometh before the fall. To which I say, that's cool, because I love autumn leaves. And Christmas ain't too far behind. When do we finally say, this is the truth of my being? What does it mean for me to live this truth? How many of us woke up this morning and looked in the mirror and said, who am I? What am I? Am I a sheep today? I'm probably a bumblebee today. No? We go about our day and we don't question, am I something other than? We know what we are. We are human. But how often do we sit with the idea that says, I'm human? I have to remind myself, I'm human. I am a person. I have to remind myself of that. How many of us do that? We don't, because we know it. But we say, I keep forgetting that I am the divine. I keep forgetting that I am an incarnation of spirit. I forget that. I don't think we actually forget it. I think we somehow put it behind in the same way that right now, if I were to ask you, by you being here, is your kitchen gone? You know you have a kitchen in your home or your apartment. You're not there right now, so you're not thinking about it. But it's there. Did you forget it? No. It's just somewhere else in consciousness. It's not my focus right now. When we focus on the message of the world, we put God in the kitchen. We're not focusing on. We didn't forget, though. It's just not our primary focus. Right now, my primary focus is, Lynn, I don't have any money to pay my bills. Oh, lack and scarcity. That's my focus right now. Rather than, let me bring God out of the kitchen. Matter of fact, I don't have to bring God out of the kitchen because God's in the living room, the dining room, the bathroom, the bedroom, the basement, the attic. It's all that is. So the invitation is, let me bring my awareness to this truth. Let me bring it to the present right here, right now. This breath, I'm not doing this. I'm not breathing me. But there is an intelligent power that breathes me, that gives me the capacity to live beating my heart, because I'm not doing that, because I can't multitask all too well, Ingy. If I had to beat my heart and breathe me and talk, one of them got to go. Like, I can't multitask. I'm not that good of a juggler, right? But we understand there's an intelligence that governs the biology. Well, what is that intelligence? As Carl Sagan said, you are the way that the universe knows itself. To which I remix. You are the way that the universe breathes itself, loves itself, nurtures itself. You are the universe, period. Not comma, not semicolon, period. Hard stop. Because the moment we want to put a comma, we want to say, well, I am God, but my trauma, but my finances, but we want to add something that then discounts and reduces our divinity. rather than I am God, period. I am that which is. When Dr. Holmes said, the only God that any of us would truly know is the one that we embody, to which he followed up with, never forget that. The only God that any of us can truly know is the one we embody. It doesn't get much bolder than that. Because in order for Lynn or All Angles or anyone, I saw you sing, for anyone to step out and sing, you have to embody the song long before you get to the microphone. It has to already be here on your way up to, it's already there. Because if there is no song, then why am I stepping up to the microphone if there's no song to be sung? There has to be a song. But the song isn't being sung yet. But it's there. That means everything that is your heart's desire, just because you don't see it yet, just because you're not at the microphone yet, just because of whatever, not yet, doesn't mean it's not already there. Every dance before it is danced is already there. Every story before it's ever told is already present. There is only one mind, and that mind is God, and that mind is your mind right now. And that means the moment you have an idea, it's not just your idea and then God's idea. If your mind is the mind that is God, then the moment it's there, the universe is already acting on it. And the more our emotions, the bolder we are to embrace it, hold it, and act from it, then the law moves in such a way that it starts to materialize. It starts to take form. Before the song, there's an inhale. Before the song, there's I have to tune. Before the dance, I have to stretch. Before the whatever it is, I've got to get the pen to write. But it means we already have the faith, believing that once I have the pen, it will be written. Once I take the breath, it will be sung. Once I tune and strum, there will be music to be played. It means we already have the faith. It means we already have. But check this out. This is a very bold idea. What if none of us have faith, but we are faith? If we are divine incarnations of God, God has no need to have faith. Right? That which God is, that which Spirit is, it has no need to have it. It is it. And if it is it, and we are individualized expressions of it, then we have the exact same attributes of it. Which means we don't have faith, faith has us. Breathe. So I'm going to share with you, Jen sent me some questions. In my 30 seconds or so, I'm going to do my best to answer these questions. Don't judge me, don't judge me. I know how much time I have. What do you need to feel bold? Awareness of who and what you are. If you have awareness of who and what you are, boldness will take care of itself. If you know yourself, you ask somebody, what do you do? I am a chef. When's the last time you asked somebody that and they said, I do cheffery? I do chefism. No one answers that like that. It's I am a chef. I am a musician. Right? We put the I am, that I am this. And then from the I am this, everything else, well, if you are this, then I know what you do. It's by default. I know what you do. Awareness of who and what you are. Are there practices that help you feel bold? Anything that encourages the expressing of oneself that requires risk and vulnerability. public speaking, performing, painting and showing your art, dance, poetry, cooking and serving the dish. Any of those things where someone can say, and we do it anyway. We are willing to risk being vulnerable because it's who and what we are, not just what we do. Is it always appropriate to be bold? When it's life-affirming, yes. Is it always appropriate to be human? Yes. Is it always appropriate to love when it's true and unconditional love? Love that is agape? Yes. It's that other convoluted, non-life affirming love, mania, jealousy, that we're like, yeah, no, not that, right? But love, pure and in its essence, it's always appropriate. So the question is it always appropriate to be bold? In other words, recognizing that you are God? Yes. What is holy boldness? Living, moving, and being your divinely magnificent self. Are there risks to holy boldness? Vulnerability, the risk of rejection and being misunderstood, being alienated, being called a cuckoo nut because, oh, you're in that cult, right? You're in that Ernest Holmesian thing, right? I ain't trying to drink the Kool-Aid. Like, oh, it's to risk someone misunderstanding and not, because that's one of the reasons why we don't share who we are and what we do, because we're afraid that someone's going to say such a thing as that. So that's what we choose to do. What do we gain by expressing holy boldness? Greater embodiment and by default expression of truth, the universe, God. How do we know it's holy and not just boldness? We discern and we ask, is it loving and compassionate? Is it life-affirming? Is it nurturing and caring? Is it reliant upon a caste system and a hierarchy of power? If we ask those questions and we get the answers, then we know if it's holy, if it's sacred, if it's right. Last thing I'm going to leave you with before I pray us out and then we open for questions, which I'm hoping Jen will, didn't ask her this, but I'm hoping Jen will facilitate. I know you have heard the idea that says from Rumi, you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in the drop. I understand and love the analogy, but it doesn't work for me because if I just take one drop of water and put it there and I ask Melinda, what is this? And she says, it's a drop of water. She's not going to automatically say, oh, that's the ocean, because all I see is a drop of water. That's why I use, not just because I love cake, but I use the cake analogy. You take a cake, you take one slice out of the cake. Is that slice, I said cake and got excited. You take that slice out. Is that slice the entirety of the cake? No. But how much of that slice is cake? All of it. Are we the entirety of God? No. But all that we are is God. Breathe. And we anchor into this awareness with such grace and beauty and power that I begin at the end. I begin with my amen. Amen, that I know that these words are not simply raised words, but that these are the words of the universe speaking through itself, about itself, and back unto itself. Amen, that I know that everyone who is here in person and everyone online, whether now or watching the recording later, is a divine incarnation, manifestation, and expression of all that God is. When Dr. Holmes said, whatever is true about God is true about you, that is the amen that I choose to live. And as I say, I choose to live, I know that this is the truth for everyone here, everyone now, everyone, period. It is the truth, the whole truth, and only that which is true. God. Amen, that I know that whatever is going on in our bodies, in our minds, in our hearts, in our relationships, in our finances, whatever that experience is, true, it is an experience that we experience. But if it is not life-affirming, it is not the truth of our being. I may have $0 in the bank, but my value and my worth is beyond any amount of dollars and cents. Amen. Amen, that I know that whatever challenges I may be having physically, I know that the truth of my being, every muscle fiber, every sinew, every bone, every organ, it is all divinely orchestrated by that which knows and knows that it knows. Every atom, every molecule, every quantum particle and wave is a divine expression of God, which means I am whole, perfect, and complete, even with the headache, the backache, the ankle ache, the toothache. I am whole, perfect, and complete. We breathe, recognizing that the law doesn't just say yes. The law says amen. The law recognizes our thoughts, our words, our emotions, and our actions, and it acts accordingly. We don't simply do prayer. Our life is prayer. Breathe and recognize that that which we are is a divine demonstration of our amen. How we live is our amen. How we communicate is our amen. How we wash dishes is our amen. How we drive is our amen. How we do anything is prayer and is our amen. The law says yes, the law says amen. That means it's already done, it's already demonstrating, it's already manifesting. Our invitation is to step into that boldly and go where we may have never gone before and live out loud as the truth of our being. Between me and God, there is no between. And so it is. Amen.